Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions that was sent to me by either email or IMs on Facebook or my AOL account, and some comments that was made yesterday on my new video I posted where I left the comments open. Okay, I want to answer as much as I can. Okay, so don't get discouraged or anything else. Like I said, I answer over 1,000 emails a day alone. People's asking me questions and stuff. I can't get around to every one of them because I'm also a caregiver to my wife Tracy and my oldest son Leroy. Plus, I got three other sons I take care of as well. So, I have a lot I have to go through every day, right along with trying to answer questions and make videos and do research and everything else. So, I give a new name to when they say, you can only get 24 hours in a day. Well, I try to make 48 hours into a 24-hour a day, which that's the old expression as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions that was asked and stuff, and show some things and stuff like that, as you see behind me. Like I said, over the years, a lot of people questions my research, okay, but they don't question the other people's research, okay. I don't know why, but it's always been that way. What I show in my research on the JFK assassination, or any research I do, I show photographic evidence, okay? And I show, like, gunmen on a grassy knoll. Okay, for years they said it was a gunman on a grassy knoll, but they were saying behind a picket fence. There's no evidence to prove that. Nothing whatsoever to show for that. Excuse me. So what I did is I looked for that evidence, and I found two gunmen inside of shelter number 3. And then we have people make comments, well, the films and images is altered, just like the Zapruder film. It was altered. Okay. I made videos on this before showing people evidence and stuff like that, that the Zapruder film wasn't altered. No image was altered or films or anything else. And when I present this evidence, they still say, oh, no, this has been altered. That's been altered because this person said it or this person said it. But I want to put something together here as well to answer this question here. To alter one film or one image, okay, we're going to have to look at it this way. We would have to have, which I'll just bring up frames from different films, okay. We have to have the Nix film, okay. We have to have, let's see, the Zapruder film. We have to have the Muchmore film, or no, Hughes film, excuse me, and the Muchmore film. And we'll bring up another one here. We'll say the Bell film. And we'll bring up just a frame here, and then this is from the Bronson film. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. I want to show you something. I'm going to pull all these up. As much as I can, because I know I'm over on this section here, so I'm going to try to bring up as much as I can. Okay. Which I'll overlap them just a little bit so we can see. Okay. So we can have enough room. So when I go over this, I can explain it more better in detail. Well, we already got the Bronson film there, so. We need a Nix film. There we go. Now, for anybody to alter one image or one film, they would have to have all these filmed together. Now we're talking about copies of them. We're talking about the original ones now. They would have to have all the original film in one location at one time. If I was going to alter or take a frame out of the Zapruder film, first off, I would have to line up every film. The Zapruder film, the Hughes film, the Muchmore film, the Bell film, the Orville Nix film, the Bronson film, and any other films that was filmed during that day. I would have to line them all up in a row. Line every one of the frames up and match them all together And here's the reason why I would have to do that. So if I was going to alter the Zapruder film, I would have went ahead and I would have to alter the Hughes film, the Bronson film, the Nix film, the Bell film, all these films, much more film, and all. I would have to change this frame, then change the frame that was in here that lines up with that frame, and this frame that was lined up with that frame. Then I would have to go into the images, like we'll say all gents image number. We'll pull up this image here. We'll pull up this image here. See, I would have to line all these images and films up. Okay, I would have to do all of this lining up on all the frames and images and stuff. Okay, to make sure they all line up. So now I have to alter all the films and all the images. Okay, and they all have to be in the same location at the same time. But none of these films or images was altered in any way. And here's the reason why. Because all these films and all these images was not in the same location. We're talking about original films and original images. Okay, because when you read the documents, you read the testimonies, and you read the reports and everything else, you will see that when Mr. Zapruder had his film done, he made 3 copies. One for the FBI, one for the CIA, one for himself, and then he took the original film that he had, that he made the 3 copies from, and sold it to Time magazine. So see, the government never got the original Zapruder film. They got a copy of the film. You see what I'm saying? So now you take a look at that. Same as the Orville Nix film. Now remember, Mr. Zapruder turned his film in to the FBI and that stuff on the same day of the assassination. The Orville Nix film did not come into play until December, the first week of December. He turned over his film to them. They made her copies. They gave him back the original within 3 days. People with their images, like the Mormon photo, they took a copy, scan of her photo that same day. They gave her back her image. Okay, none of these photos, images, films, or anything was in the same location at the same time, and we're talking about all the originals. Because, like I said, to alter one frame in any film, you would have to alter every film there is, or every image there is, so every one of them can line up. And all the films and all the images do line up with one another. So you see what I'm saying? They cannot alter one film, because if they alter one film, what's going to happen? They're going to say, okay, yeah, they have their evidence. A person would have their evidence that a film or image was altered. Okay, researchers are going to tell people about films and images. Oh, well, there's frames taken out. Yeah, there was frames taken out. As I point out, and I have made a video on that. They took out the frames of Mr. Zapruder's family and Mrs. Setzman. Okay, they took them frames out because it has nothing to do with assassination. They're only going to show the part of the film that shows Elm Street, and that's it, and the assassination part. That's it, nothing else, because nothing else pertains to the assassination, only that part there. But that's what I'm talking about. They're not, these researchers are going to do it. So now we got all these people in clouds, as I made in my video yesterday. There's confusion. And this is the reason why there's confusion, because all these false claims are being made there. All right. So hopefully this clears up that altering of images, altering of all these other stuff, because there was no altering done whatsoever. Okay. There was no altering done whatsoever on any of the films or any of the images. Okay. They would have to line them up. Number 2, if he was going to alter an image, why not alter all these frames here that shows 2 bullet strikes to the manhole cover and a bullet ricocheting upward? Now, the government knew there was shots taken to that manhole cover, because we have images and everything else of Secret Service agents and police officers and everything else looking over them 2 shots to the manhole cover. And why wasn't the manhole cover concrete replaced as well? You see what I'm saying? If you're going to alter a film, wouldn't you go through the film? Because we're going to know, hey, wait a minute, we better look at these films images, because this manhole cover was stricken. The government already knows this. The FBI already knows this. The CIA already knows this, because there's their evidence right there. You see them around looking at the manhole cover. You see them grabbing the bullet that was lying in the grass there. The Zapruder film shows that. Okay, so if the government was altering images and films and stuff, wouldn't you think they would have took these frames out? They wouldn't make sure these frames wouldn't be viewed. You see what I'm talking about? I get the same questions over and over again, and I have to keep on answering them. And then people comes off and says, "Well, Leroy don't answer questions." I do answer the questions. I put them in my videos. Okay, all you have to do is view my videos, and you'll find the answers that you're looking for. Just like I point out right here, the films and images show two shots striking the manhole cover there. There's a bullet retrieved there. Okay, there's your evidence of a conspiracy. It shows you more than 3 shots fired. The Spruder film shows you what it even altered anyway, because we can see in the Spruder film both of them shots occur right here and the locations, and we can go to that manhole cover today and see that manhole cover and feel it and everything else. There's one bullet hole and there's one bullet hole. How do we know these are bullet holes? Because we can see it in the Spruder film. We can see other images as well where police officers, Secret Service agents and stuff looking over them. We have eyewitness accounts claiming there was 2 shots that struck this manhole cover here. Okay? Eyewitness accounts and all. So everything matches up and everything lines up. You see what I'm saying? So no films or no images altered anyway. Now, I want to pull up this one. I'm going to answer a few of Frank's questions. Okay. Did all gens pick number 6 capture the decoy firecracker effect on the Secret Service in the back of the vehicle? No, it didn't. Okay, they're just looking around. Okay, that's what people do. They look around. If the JFK back of the headshot is coming from left to right, okay, is it not also true the second floor core records building shooter is north to right of JFK? Let's rank this for a minute. Okay, we're going to go right here. We're going to pull this up. Okay, as you see here in my diagram, you see second floor, 4 shots, 1 gunman. Okay, this is the location where that gunman was. When you fire from this way, he's firing from the left, going out to the right. Okay. Oswald's position, he's going in from the shooting from the right, going out to the left. Okay, same as the gunman on the rooftop of the county records building. And as I point this out to people, okay, you see the shot, he's going from the right to the left. This is where his direction's going. We also see that the curb shot, grass area shot, manhole cover shots all in the same line of fire. So yeah, you'd be going from the right to the left from this shot here. I mean from the left to right, excuse me, from left to right for the second floor gunman. Oswald would be going from the right out to the left. The gunman on the second floor of the county records building would be going from the left out to the right. Now, how do we know that we went 15 centimeters? I think there was one on there about 15 centimeters, excuse me, about the headshot. Okay, well, there was one question to answer about that. But let me go ahead and bring this up. By the autopsy reports and stuff like that, and by the brain itself, they show the bullet entering 15 centimeters and then that impact section right here. So basically, the bullet mark that's inside the brain stops 15 centimeters. That's why they pinpointed it went in 15 centimeters. And then it exploded right there because the rest of it was impact. So the bullet stopped at 15 centimeters where the impact was. So that's why they claimed it was 15 centimeters and that, you know, the bullet entered 15 centimeters. But that's where both the bullets collide. That's why it was just fragments inside JFK's head and all over the back of the limo and on the seats and on the floorboards and everything else, because the bullet entered 15 centimeters and stopped in that location there. Now, it might have went in a little bit further than 15 centimeters, but the only reason why they're going for 15 centimeters is because we go in there and that's an impact of explosion from JFK's brain. So most of this section of JFK's brain was gone, but this section of his brain was still there, and that bullet traveled through there. So they're measuring it that way and went in 15 centimeters, and that's where it erupted and exploded open. So that's the reason why they said that it went in 15 centimeters. Now let's see, he's got a couple more questions you want to answer for him. If the first shelter 3 shot came from the third window and the second shot came from the entranceway close to Zapruder, why does Nick's frames show the first shot close to the zapruder, then the second shot. All right, well, let's look at that for a moment. Okay. Let's see if we have it up here. I don't know if I have it in here or not. I do have this frame right here, this Orville Nix film, right here, which shows the shot on the side of the shelter, which I didn't have the other frame on me. This is frame 40. Okay, he's close to Zapruder, misassessment, but we got to remember one thing. All right, when we analyze films and when we go over images and stuff like that, okay, just like people ask me the same question on why didn't Mr. Zapruder jump or misassessment jump and everything else. Well, if you look at the frames and stuff and you watch Orville Nix film, you'll see that misassessment brings up her hands and cover over Mr. Zapruder's ears. And if you watch the film, you'll see her hands come up like this and then cover over Mr. Zapruder's ears, and then her hands get more. So I guess she's doing more compression, so it'll take out more sound when she puts more compression with her arms going out extended like that. But I'll probably have to come back to that question because I have to get both of the frames together to go over that part. Okay, so I apologize for that one, but we will answer it eventually. Are the 5 missed shots from Oswald and his Carcano? No, because the Carcano rifle was a decoy rifle. Okay, that rifle wasn't even fired that day because, like I said, a lot of people don't give you a lot of information on it. When they found the Carcano rifle, and that's what brought up red flags for me, and that's why I had to look, because of the pure simple fact of it is the Carcano rifle was never fired that day. This is a proven fact. It was never used that day. Plus, it was set, the scope that was on it was set for a left-handed shooter, not a right-handed shooter, because Oswald shot right-handed. That's the reason why I call it a decoy rifle, because it was never used that day. Even though they claimed all these bullets came from this, no, it didn't. Especially the magic bullet, don't know where that came from. Okay, but they want to put it that way, that Carcano rifle. Far as the 5 missed shots that we see in the other people's research, no one knows. Okay, the 5 missed shots that people talked about was no one knows. No one knows who took those shots. Was it what's his name? James Files? Well, they only claim he took 1 shot. Charles Harrelson, they only claim he only took 1 shot. Malcolm Wallace, they claim he only took 1 shot. Nicoletti, they claim they don't know if he took any shots or not, so they really don't know. So who knows who took these supposedly 5 shots? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. They said all these missed shots, these 5 missed shots in their research, but they have no answers for them. As I point out in my research, okay, there was no missed shots. There was distraction shots, and the reason why there was distraction shots taken is to get people to run up the hillside so the 2 gunmen inside of shelter number 3 can get away as the crowd's running in there, so they can blend in with them, so they can get out of the people's sight. Because all they had to do is after they took their shots, they brought the rifles into their overcoats or the jackets they had on, and all of a sudden they started walking out along with the other people running with them because the people was running undercover. Now a lot of people says they was running up there the hillside to go out their gunmen. No, they wasn't, because let me tell you something. People started running up the hillside to get under cover from the line of fire because there was bullets being taken around them. As you see, there was a lot of crossfire there. So people was trying to get under cover because let me tell you something. Anybody in their right mind, okay, we're talking about pedestrians, we're talking about women, we're talking about men and everything else. Nobody in history is going to run to a person that's firing a rifle. Am I correct? You're going to run away. You're going to run the opposite direction away from that line of fire. You're not going to run into that person that's firing a rifle. Am I correct? So if they was running up that hillside to capture the assassin, okay, they would have a rifle. They would be running into the line of fire. A person will not do that, especially a woman or anything else. A man, a woman, doesn't matter what you are. You're not going to run into the line of fire because you're going to be getting shot yourself. So what they're going to do is run away and trying to get out of the line of fire, and that's what they was doing there because they had it very well planned. All they had to do was take distraction shots. Once they take them distraction shots, people's going to start running up the hillside, which let me pull up this one right here. Okay, they start taking these distraction shots right here and right in this location here. So all these people are going to start running up this hillside here to get behind the trees and behind that picket fence, behind that brick wall and everything else to get out line of fire. You see what I'm saying? And then as they're running up through here, these two gunmen here can slip their rifles back underneath their jackets, walk out the other entranceway, and walk in with the crowd of people that's going in there. Remember, there's cars and people all up in this area now because they're fearing for their lives of shots being fired. So they can easily walk to somebody, hand them off the rifles while they're putting rifles in the back end of the trunk. They could walk over to the railroad cars and get right on it. See, so see, it was very well planned. That's why I said it was a military hit. Now, people ask me about the Bell film. Why can't anybody see the Bell film? Here's that frame that shows the gunman. This is the complete frame from the Bell film. Okay, they don't show this on videos or films or nothing like that. You have to order the frames themselves. Okay, you have to order them. All right, the Bell film. They're only going to show you this part here, which I'm going to zoom in. They're going to show you this part here, which they actually zoom in. So you're not going to see the second floor. You're just going to see this part of the film right here. This is all the film you're going to see right here. Okay, they're not going to show you this part over here either as well. They're just going to zoom in. When they show the film, they zoom in it this way. So you only capture this part and this part of the film. You're not capturing the whole frame or nothing. But the frames are there, as I got copies of the frames myself of the Bell film. And this is the whole frame itself, in which we can see the gunman right here, hanging out the window right here, and you can see the rifle right here in his hand right here. Okay, and the reason why he's hanging out the window is he was actually trying to look past this right here, this little wall, extended wall sticking out. He was looking past there to see if they was coming down, because now you can see JFK's limos here. So he wanted to make sure that there was coming down that way, instead of if they went ahead and changed it and want to start going down Main Street there, he could still take a shot from this direction here out to Main Street. So he wanted to make sure they was coming down so he can get prepared to start taking aim to JFK. So he was leaning out to look past this extended pillar that's sticking out right here. And this is the reason why none of these guys noticed him, because they're looking straight ahead. When we watch the Bell film, we watch much more film and stuff. None of these Secret Service agents are looking up. Not one of them. They're looking forward or to the sides, but none of them's looking up. None of them's looking up. And as you see here, here's Clint Hill right here, Agent Clint Hill right here. He's looking off to his left. Okay, and they're not going to pay too much attention up here, which they're supposed to, but they wasn't. So see, yeah, the Bell films frames right here. This is that one frame that I showed where the gunman was at. I have all these frames here as it shows this, and you can see these windows over here, and there's nobody in those windows or anything else. But the frames are out there. Like I said, there's a lot of things that people ask me and stuff, And thank you, Frank. Like I said, sorry, Frank, I can't answer all of them. I'm trying to go through as much as I can, because there's a lot of other people that wants questions, and I can't just answer one person's questions and then go on and on and on. But there's a lot of things, just like the three tramps, okay? The tall tramp be standing on the old tramp's back because there's three tramps there. Okay, you got the tall tramp, the short tramp, and the old man tramp. This is the old man tramp sitting like this, while the tall tramp standing on his back. And then we have the second gunman standing on ground level. He comes around and takes a shot. Now, how do we know that these are the gunmen, in the shelter, which is the three tramps? Well, we know the two tramps are here as the gunmen because not only their profile fits these gunmen here, but see this gunman here? He was actually, and especially the profile is identical, the hairline receding and all and everything else. But by the Darnell film, he was aiming from his left side. From the Oral Nix film, he was firing his rifle from his left side. And in photographic evidence now, which I have him here. I know I brought. Now I know I have his image here, or at least I thought I did. Let's see. Here it is, right here. I knew I had it. Right here we have a butt plate imprint on his left lapel from a rifle that was pressed against his left lapel on his left side. So we have the one assassin that was on the side of the shelter, was firing his rifle from his left, aiming his rifle from his left. Okay, and now we have this tramp here with a butt plate imprint of a rifle on his left lapel. Right along with his hair, I mean his facial expressions, his hairline and stuff, his profile fits that assassin that's on the side of the shelter, and with the gunman firing his rifle and aiming his rifle from his left side, and then we have the butt plate imprint of the rifle on the left lapel of this gunman right here. So now we know that this is the gunman that was inside of shelter number 3. Like I said, there's a lot of things that people have to overlook, you know, when it comes to JFK assassination, because there's a lot of false claims, a lot of false stories out there. Okay, I go into details. I look for certain things, you know. I have a person that wrote me wrote me an email and said there was somebody making comments about Oz and stuff like that on a new video I posted. You know, Dorothy and monkeys and everything else. That's why I try to explain to people, and I try to point out to people. When it comes to JFK assassination anymore, people are looking at it as a joke. They're looking at it as a fairy tale. And people thinks it is a joke. To me, it's not a joke. It's a murder case, okay? The President of the United States was shot and killed. It's a murder case, okay? You know, you can't sit there and look at an image like this, okay? Or an image like this, or an image like this, or an image like this, okay? Which I'm going to bring them up, okay? So you can see, you can't sit here and look at images like this and say, okay, it's time to make jokes, okay? It's time to make funny jokes. This is not a joke. Not to me, it's not a joke. This is a murder case. Okay, where is the joking at on this? That's why I tell people, look at the expression. Excuse me. This is the image that really sticks in my mind. Look at the expression on Mrs. Kennedy's face. She's holding her husband right here. This side of her head is gone, and she's looking right inside of his head. Looking right there, with half of his face hanging over on the side of this face right here. This is all hanging over this way. Okay, is that a joke? That's why I said people want to sit there and say it's this and say that and make these rude comments and stuff. That's another reason why I don't like putting comments in there, okay? Because, yeah, it's not fair to everybody, but it's not fair to people making jokes and, you know, making wisecracks about this kind of a case, okay? That's why I tell people 20 years from now, 100 years from now, they're going to look at JFK assassination as a fairy tale, because that's what these people are making. They're making it a sideshow. They're making it a mockery. They're making a joke of it and everything else, to where people's going to sit there and say, oh, this is nothing but a fairy tale anymore. Like I said, the Art of Lemonade, I even pointed out, and I watched videos, even his interviews and stuff, James Tigg. James Tigg. Okay, these people out there saying the bullet struck the curb and the bullet bounced up and struck him right in the face and took part of his face. You can see his face wasn't really that scarred up. Just a piece went by his cheek and that was it. But people, when they were sitting there talking about, well, you know, I was sitting there watching some of these things, and someone in the background, you know, was giving a tour and stuff, telling about, you know, Dealey Plaza, all the shots happening there and stuff. And someone in people says, wasn't there a person that was named James Tigg or James Togg or something like that? And he says, yeah, James Tigg. You know, he was standing over there, and a lot of people said, I never heard of him. Who is he? How did he get shot? And everything. You see what I'm saying? They're erasing James Tigg from the assassination of JFK now. They're not even explaining where the shots from Governor Connally came, whether who took them shots or anything else. Okay, they're mainly talking about the shots of JFK. When it comes to JFK assassination, okay, people look at me, I call it the JFK assassination, but I also call it the attempted assassination of Governor Connally as well. Okay, just like when I bring up questions like, well, if Oswald was a lone shooter and he was the lone assassin, why wasn't, charges brought upon him for the bullet striking the curb and almost hit James Tay? Why wasn't he charged with anything about Governor Connally? He wasn't. He was just charged with Officer Tippett's murder first, and then JFK's murder, the assassin of JFK. But nothing about Governor Connally or James Tay. So that brought up red flags. Well, wait a minute. If he took these shots, as you so-called all these shots, couldn't it be charges brought upon him because of these two guys? But still, no answers. But like I said, anymore, this is going on 55 years now. People looks more or less like the JFK assassination as a big joke anymore, and that it was fake. Some people's even claiming it's fake now, that it never really happened. It was all staged. We have people that says that as well. And I think a comment was made about that as well. I don't know. I haven't looked over them yet. I took this image here real quick so I can answer some questions, okay, from that site today. So, people can't say I don't answer nobody's questions. I'll try to put as much answers as I can into it. But like I said, everybody's looking at it as a sideshow now, and it's not real. It's not reality. Okay, James Tagg's already been eliminated from the assassination of JFK. I don't consider Officer Tippett's murder a part of the assassination of JFK because that's a different murder case. Okay, even though it was done by the same person that was in the assassination of JFK, but it's still a different murder case. They don't have no ties into it, but a lot of these researchers try to put a lot of ties into it. Remember, as I point out, they hired Ruby hired Tippett to assassinate to assassinate Oswald. Okay, all that kind of stuff. Okay, they're going to say anything they can. But like I said, I try to answer as many questions as I can, and I look at anymore when I see the common stuff. Like I said, and people ask me questions, and people said, "Why does people joke about this? Why do people joke about that?" Because that's people. Okay, they think they're smart, they think they're intelligent, but that's all they're doing. They're thinking they are, but they're not. Okay, if you got to leave a smart comment or making a joke out of something or one thing or another, that's not called intelligence. Okay, it's really not. But they can say whatever they want about me. Like I said, they call me crazy. They call me nuts. Even Beverly Oliver said that after I brought my evidence out of the babushka lady. Okay, I'm used to it. All right, I make my videos. If you don't believe me, like I tell people, you don't believe me, that's fine and dandy. Okay, if you believe somebody else's research, that's fine and dandy as well. Okay, I try to answer as much as I can. Like I said, I've already answered probably about 72 emails already this morning. About 5 IMs on Facebook. I haven't been on my Twitter account in a long time. Probably got a lot of questions on there as well. But I'll try to make some videos and stuff. Like I said, I got so much to do in one day. And it's hard for me to keep up with everything. But I try to do the best I can. Try to answer some questions and stuff like that. But I want to make this video here to answer a few questions and stuff like that so people can understand. Okay, there's the bell frame right there. They just only show the part of the frame here. Don't know why they don't show the whole frame, okay, the whole part of the film. They want you to zoom in, and that's basically what they're showing is the zoom in version of it. Okay, they cut this section out, they cut the top section out while they zoom in. I don't know why they won't show this, but it does bring up questions. Why not? Okay, why not? Because they know there was a gunman there, and they didn't want nobody to find that gunman. Just like I sit there and I said about the Zapruder film. If the Zapruder film was altered, they know the shots happened at the manhole cover. Why didn't they alter these images here, took these shots out? Okay, but they didn't know. You see what I'm saying? They didn't know because none of these films was altered in any way. No one's ever even gave a second thought, but it's just the rumor that these researchers want to put out there. And like I said, everybody's starting to make a joke and a mockery of the JFK assassination now, and they think it's a joke. Okay, that's why sometimes it makes me think, should I keep on, continue on, pushing my research, making my videos and stuff like that? Because the point is, what good is it doing? Okay, people's going to joke about this, joke about that. They, like I said, they are eliminated James Tagg from the assassination. They're eliminating Governor Connally from the assassination. They put up their own stories. They're making tons of money, tons and tons of money off the JFK assassination every single day. Summer, winter, fall, they're making it constantly, especially in November. I mean, they're hitting it hard out there. They're telling their stories or telling their false information. People's going home, donating money to people, buying their stuff, expecting that they got the truth when all they got was false information and everything else. And I find it's really a shame. It really is a shame. So, like I said, I asked, let's get this one video go viral, see what people really believe, and everything else. Not just, like I said, JFK assassination, when I've done this research and stuff, it wasn't for fame. It's not for glory. It's not for making money. It's for finding the truth, getting the truth out there, setting the record straight, setting a true story out there so all this stuff can be actually told and it can be marked down and everything be said and done and over with. But there's too many people out there now that's telling false stories, giving false information out. Now they're making this into a big joke. Now they're making it into a fairy tale. Now they're saying that it's not even actually true. The assassination of JFK is a staged or one thing or another. Okay, they're going really far out there now. They have Mrs. Kennedy shooting JFK. They have Driver Greer shooting JFK. They have Governor Connally shooting JFK and shooting himself, which is Jesus Peace. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now he shot himself as well. But I just wanted to, make this video, answer a few questions and stuff like that. I have some other things I have to do right now. So don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Always in the description down below, you'll find a site where you can buy my book, Evidence of Conspiracy, the only book you ever need in JFK Assassination, if you really want to know the truth. Okay? If you really want to know the truth, that's the only book you ever need. Thank you, and you have a pleasant, pleasant day.